Two. Hey guys, I'm here with Jixa Patel. She's a dental student at the moment at Loma Linda University, School of Dental Medicine. So I'm really excited to have her on. She's especially special because she has done pretty much every job in the dental world. So she knows what she's talking about. So I'm very glad to have you on. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Yeah, good. We started our second lockdown, so we're on live everyday lives again. So there's lots of stuff coming out for everyone. Try and keep everyone entertained, or keep me entertained at least. I don't know.
That's awesome, that's awesome. I feel like more things are gonna start coming out because of the lockdown being, present now.
Is it the same way you are? I've not really.
Yeah,
Yeah.
um, so as far as well, I mean, Biden just got into office yesterday, and so, we're kind of I think we're just gonna figure out what's gonna happen
Mm.
next, but as far as school goes, we're in, like, half and half, so we go in for labs, and then those just got restricted a couple days ago, so we're in a smaller class. We're just I think I wanna say 15, but there's more than 15 of us, in each room, and that's all that's allowed. And so, I mean, it's really small, condensed, but clinics are going as
Yeah.
normal. And there's like a significant decrease of patients that we see, but definitely going as normal,
Yeah, I mean,
thankfully.
dental school is pretty slow anyway. You don't have hundreds of patients coming in and out, like individually. Like
Yeah,
you get two or three patients in the day,
yeah,
so
yeah.
it's maybe a bit easier to manage that flow. It's more the open, like a lot of the dental schools, they have open surgeries, don't you, where you can peek over the top of the guy next door,
Yeah.
the girl next door. So that's maybe the issue.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, for sure. At first they had us separated, so they would skip a cubicle,
mm,
and now it's like next to each other, and that's completely fine because there's more than 6 feet within that cubicle,
yeah,
thankfully. So there's no real worry as far as like contamination and stuff
yeah,
goes.
fair
So
enough.
it's really great. I love it. I love being back at school. I hated being in online classes all the time.
I can see like pluses and negatives. I think they should keep the lectures there
Yeah,
because
yeah, yeah, for sure.
like then you can easily just you can do it from wherever. You can go on a road trip and still do
Yeah.
all
All
your
your
all,
lectures.
all your lectures. But then if you need to be in for labs, if you need to be in for patients, then you can be in for those as well. I think it gives a good flexibility. Um,
Yeah, for sure, for sure. We actually, before this happened, like, no one really recorded our
yeah,
lectures, and now we have the luxury of, like, having a recorded lecture. We can go back to the section that we didn't, like, really pay attention to or went to go grab coffee or something like that, and, like, re-listen to it, speed it up if I want to, and it just makes I think it makes, like, learning a little bit easier because I can pause it and all of
yeah.
that, and take notes at the same time, which we didn't have that luxury before. It was just like lecture, come to class, and that's it. But yeah, I definitely think it's the online portion of lecture is great, but I wouldn't wish like I know our first years are going through like having to wax up and stuff at home. I definitely do not wish that on
Yeah.
them because I liked having an instructor there where I can like get critiqued. I know what I'm doing wrong and stuff like that. So I do not wish that on
We
anybody.
never had to do this waxing up of teeth thing. So
Oh,
no.
what?
Yeah, we never had to do it. I
That's
think we had to do
crazy.
one tooth maybe. Um, but they
Yeah,
were like, "Look, you're never gonna do this, so we'll show you how to do it once, and that's it."
yeah.
Uh,
And that's
and that
it,
was it.
yeah.
Yeah. Whereas you guys do loads, don't you? You're like doing all of your lab work, which I mean, I suppose is great
Yeah,
because if something goes wrong in a denture case and you know what you're doing and you can quickly just adjust it, then great. Instead of having to send it back to the lab. Whereas I'm like, yeah, I know kind of what's going on, but like it's been 6 years since I did that lab course, so I don't really know.
yeah. It's been a
Yeah.
while. So are you predominantly, you do endo, is that correct?
That's
Yes,
everyone knows
okay.
that's what I want to do. I've been getting that out there the last 9 months, but I'm still a general
Yeah.
dentist. But my future within
Okay,
dentistry is for sure um, either going down private sort of stuff, or it's going to be
yeah.
endo specialty. But even if I just do private stuff, I will be doing further training in endo and taking on referrals.
Okay.
So whether or not I get that specialty title, which is like pretty cool,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
costly, or I'm just someone who's done lots of further training and is good, and can do more cases than the average guy. Is yet to be seen, but yeah, just a general guy at the moment. I'm only 2 years out, so yeah.
Okay, okay, cool, cool. Yeah, so I mean, talking a little bit about my background, well, I was actually born in India, and I came here to the States when I was 8, I wanna say, and settled down in Texas. I knew that I wanted to be a dentist around, like, middle school, high school.
Yeah.
So yeah, so in high school, I started, like a shadowing thing, I don't know what to call it. It was like a program within my school, and I got super interested in it, so I started working as a dental assistant in high school. I went on a mission trip in high school, which was really cool, to Honduras, and, that was actually really fun to get to, like, assist. I actually got to extract a tooth at
Oh,
the age of
they let
18,
you do
which was
stuff.
super
That's
cool.
cool.
Yeah,
Right.
so he was just like, "I've already loosened it." It was the oral surgeon.
Yeah.
He was like, "I've already loosened it up. Do you wanna take a swing at this?" I was like, "Sure, why not?"
Yeah. Oral surgeons
So that
don't follow rules, do they? They're just like, yeah, well, whatever.
yeah, why
They're
not?
above the rules.
Yeah. So it was super fun. It was a humbling experience at the age of 18. You don't really know much, and
Yeah.
so, um yeah, I just got to know dentistry in a different level, different aspect. I pursued it in undergrad. I didn't get in. So I just like did like a dental lab tech program. It was like a year after undergrad. And finished that off, and I got a really great job outside of undergrad, at a company called ClearCorrect. They're international, so
I've heard of them, but I don't really know what they do. Yeah.
It's like, clear aligner therapy, so I don't wanna say it's like Invisalign, but it's similar to Invisalign. They've just got different techniques. Became a supervisor there, was super cool, did a little bit of research and development with them, and then I actually I was looking for a different career, like, I wanted to be with patients again, I wanted to be part of treatment again.
Yeah.
Um, so I went back and, I got into, Loma Linda for dental hygiene. Um, at the time, they had told me that I wasn't, applicable for dental school per se, and I didn't know if I, like, was wanting to pursue that because I am older
Right.
now. Um, I, I I don't know, but there was just such a voice in my head that said, "Just keep trying, like, keep trying to do it, see if you can do it." I, met with, McDean, at my first quarter at Loma Linda, and, she said, "Look, it looks like you're on an upward a trend here, you're doing great, let me see what I could do." And so, I went through the interview process, went through all of that, and, now I'm in dental
So
school.
how long from your undergrad, the first time round, has it taken you to get to this point?
Um, ooh, so after undergrad, if you're counting lab tech school, I would say I graduated in
Right.
2011. So, it's been a while, like 10 years-ish, a little less than 9, 8 to 9 years. Yeah,
That's fair enough. I mean, there were guys that turn up at dental school in their mid-30s when we started in my undergrad, so it's not uncommon. And if it's the right thing, then go for it.
yeah, for sure. I think I realized also, like, working, I realized that, like, there's a lot of dead ends in dentistry. There's not like, "Oh, I can gain experience and move on to the next level." There's, like, the dead end of, "I'm a dental assistant, that's my limited
Mm,
responsibility. I have to go to hygiene school in order to become a hygienist." And moving upwards, I can't just go from hygiene straight to dentistry with experience. Like, if I was in business or something like that, I could work my way up a promotion or the ladder, but I can't do that with dentistry. And so, like, going back to school was important, in progressing my career per se.
yeah, I mean, there's so much scope within dentistry. I mean, you just got to look around at the people that we kind of that I've had on the podcast recently. There's been so much,
Sure, sure.
you know, Jason, he owns practices. He wants to get into teaching. He, does stuff on Instagram. He does all these different things, and there's probably not a degree in the world that has so much scope as dentistry. I would say.
Yeah, for sure. And specialties and moving on forward, I think it's just there's just so much.
Mm.
There's so much with dentistry that one person can
Yeah. So
do.
you've made the right choice. Of you. Do you think you've definitely made the right choice?
Yeah, for sure. Hands down, think I made the right
I think that's always
choice.
a difficult question sometimes because maybe some people haven't and they're kind of stuck and you kind of got to go with it. And but it's always nice to hear that you've come out on the right side of things and are enjoying it. I'm out of focus. I think I'm out of focus.
Yeah.
There,
There we
that's it.
go.
Exit forward. Hold on, it's better. Yeah. So what's the dental school journey been like for you so far? Obviously, you're really early doors. Um, COVID has kind of hit you
Uh,
pretty crazy.
yeah.
So it's not ideal.
Yeah.
Um, when what's Loma Linda strong at within dentistry? Because there's some schools which are really good with, um, I don't know, like endo and oral surgery, and some are like really good with other stuff. What's the strength for you guys?
Um, it's really hard to gauge, like I said, like you were saying, it's kind of hard to gauge as far as like because only a second year, what Loma Linda is really good at. I want to say it's
Yeah,
prosthodontics, in general. Um, the reason for me saying that is like our academic dean is a prosthodontist. Uh, I believe our past dean is a prosthodontist. He's a prosthodontist, so I think our it's more geared towards
yeah,
that. With that being said, ugh, academics, what that's been like, especially because I've gone through all of the ringer through everything in dentistry. The first year was really, I wouldn't say taxing, but it was just a lot of sciences, and I don't know if it's similar in the UK, but,
was
yeah,
yeah,
I just don't like, for me, I think the logic of it is not fully there. I would've much preferred to do, like, a head and neck cadaver lab, spend your time getting to know the muscles because there are so many,
mm,
in the head and neck area, um instead of doing the whole body and learning about the entire body, I would have much preferred like a localized, let's just focus on the head and neck, and then we'll do like a quarter of a full body, just so you know what's happening within the
yeah.
body.
I kind of get that. I think the difficulty is like a lot of the guys who start in dental school will be coming straight out of an undergrad. So it's probably a really
True.
obvious place for those guys to start. Whereas you came
Yeah.
back in from the cold of non-academia. So it's like
Yeah, yeah.
it's a whole different ball game for you than it is for them.
Yeah, true. And also, like, that's another thing. Like, I mean, I think a prerequisite to dental was a really great prerequisite to dental. Most students end up doing like biology or I can't remember. It's like different degrees that are like biological sciences or something like
Mm.
that. Instead of doing that, doing like a dental hygiene bachelor's degree was really great because you had to have those anatomy prerequisites. You had to have those physiology
Yeah.
prerequisites. You were familiar with these things before you walked in, so it wasn't like it was like a shot in the dark
Yeah,
entirely.
I kind of get that. That makes sense to me. Um, so yeah, you're getting through. You're doing okay. Um, where do you think?
Like,
I know you've probably not had lots of patient contact and stuff, but do you have an idea of where you want to go, or is it too early to say?
uh, as far as like specialty
As in, yeah, do you think you're going to do a specialty, or do you think you're going to be
goes,
more of a generalist or something?
I would so I as far as what I see in my future, and obviously I don't know anything yet, as far as what I see in my future, I think I would really like to work in, like with the government at like a federally qualified center, where it's like low income patients, trying to see them and trying to get them on the right path. That's where like more of the preventative care comes
Mm.
in. Um, and I would like to do that for the first couple of years, and maybe like do a part time where I'm doing part-time private practice and part-time of
Yeah.
that. I think the ultimate goal for me is orthodontics. I would love to get into orthodontics because like my dental lab tech background had so much to do with
So you kind of
orthodontics.
know a bit already
Uh
about it.
yeah, like moving teeth is a breeze for me. I can think logically as far as moving
Yeah.
teeth goes. I and even like now like digital denture setups are just like that where you're just like moving to adjust them, and it makes complete sense to me. So that's something I would love to get into, but um yeah, I think that like there's two different types of passions for me, I guess, as far as dentistry goes. I want to help the needy. That's kind of my one of my really major goals is to be able to provide dentistry to, because I learned so much when I was younger from that. I would love to do that for people in need, third world countries, um, India, perhaps, or even here in the United States. COVID obviously would have to disappear in
Yeah,
order for that
to
to
do anything,
happen.
we've got to be on the
Yeah.
other side of all this.
Yeah, but that's one of my major goals, and then my second goal would be to get into orthodontics if possible. But the issue that I would have to try to figure out is orthodontics is more of like moving teeth, brackets, wires, clear aligners, and all of
Yeah.
that. You're not really doing like a filling or a crown prep or any of those things. So trying to stay in touch with both of those things, like being a general, should I be a general dentist or an orthodontist, or should I be a hybrid, and just that, trying to figure that out. I think that would be like later on in the future for me.
Yeah, I think that is, you've got loads of time to decide, and as long as you've got some ideas, I think it's all good. Um, how did you feel, when you were going through your application processes? Were there any things that stick out to you as things that you maybe would have done differently, or things that would be good to flag up for others?
Application process. Obviously I had a
Yeah,
non-traditional application process into dental school. But like from the get-go, I think everyone always emphasized to me like shadowing is really great, shadowing is great, shadowing is great. So I did my best in like trying to get as many shadow hours. I stay in touch with a lot of the dentists that I've worked for in the past, and that was important. So I think shadowing was a must, and also knowing that that's something that you want to do in your
yeah,
future, because a lot of people don't get that, don't understand that. So definitely that shadowing, keeping your grades up, it as stupid as that sounds, like, and as basic as that sounds, I guess I should say. Keeping your grade
yeah,
yeah, and keeping your grades up is what, like, so, admissions, like, if you think about it, like, as a process, as a whole
yeah.
process, like, the reason for you to even get through the door is through your grades. If your numbers don't line up, then there's no way in hell that you're gonna get an interview to show, like, that you're a great person and so on and so forth. So, if you can't pass that first mark, then you're not gonna be able to make it forward and onwards into dental
Yeah,
school,
I
I
think
think.
that's kind of like, it's kind of, you tick the first box, and then you need to look at the next box after that, and yeah, go forward from there. Obviously, the interviews are something weird, not weird, but they're they don't care about your grades anymore once you're in the interview, because they already know about the grades. So
Yeah,
like,
right,
it's one of those things. So you're then onto a different test if you want. They're trying to find out something different about you.
right, right. And I think that's where, like, your passions come in, that's where your extracurriculars come in. That's a great time to talk about those things, like, talk about, for me, it was like talking about how I went to Honduras and that defined my
Mm,
passion, and so on and so forth, of, like, where you lie in dentistry, how where do you see yourself in dentistry, and what steps have you taken to get there, kind of
Yeah, because they want to know, like, are you committed?
thing.
Are you someone who's going to see it through? Um, are you someone who's teachable? All these kinds of things, and like someone
Hmm.
they want to teach. There's people who are like super
Yeah.
clever, just a nightmare to deal with. And
Yeah.
if you're a
Yeah,
teacher, you
for
want the
sure.
easiest life possible. You're just like, yeah, they're easy to teach. It's all good. Um, and some people are not quite that. So that's what they're looking for, right?
Yeah,
That's what I would
definitely.
be looking for anyway.
Yeah, for sure. I think I would definitely be that harder to teach when I first got into school. I would have checked that box of like, "Are we sure about her?" Because I was harder to teach,
No, no, not hard.
just
Not
because
hard
I
to
come
teach as
from,
in
like, a
like you're finding it difficult. Hard to teach as in like they're just up themselves. Like they're just arrogant and
oh, yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
which I'm not.
I
I'm
see, I
definitely not getting that vibe from you right now. But um,
see.
that's the other
Yeah,
Jixa.
definitely not. Yeah.
That's kind of
Maybe, like, when I become an instructor myself, maybe way later on
yeah.
down the line, there might be a little bit of arrogance, but not yet, not
No,
yet.
let's keep that to the minimum. But yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You'll get to like an interview, and I remember I went to one. And it's a long time ago, and there's one guy just going on and on in the waiting room outside about everything he'd done and how he's gonna breeze the interview and all these things. I was just like, yeah, good one, mate. You're gonna be an absolute. They're not gonna like you,
You're
mate. And
not gonna
then
be easy to teach.
these are northerners here. You don't know what's happening.
Yeah. For
Yeah.
sure.
Um. Yeah. I mean, let's move on from interviews because I think loads of people have done interviews to death, and I can't think of anything more to say about it really. That's that. I'd just be like, yeah, be a cool person that they want to teach. That would be my thing.
Yeah. One clever thing that I definitely I saw someone do this when I went in for my interview, and I was like, "Oh my god, how smart, how brilliant is this?" The girl had actually brought a thank you note with her so that instead of, like, having to write an email
Mm.
and all of that, she wrote her thank you note out after her interview, and she gave it to the front desk lady to give to the person that she interviewed with. Thought it was super brilliant. She didn't have to, like, mail something
For me,
out.
that's
She didn't have to,
so
like,
extra.
an email. Yeah, it is so
I'm
extra, for sure, for
honestly,
sure.
I'm not sending an email. I'm just like, you asked me to the interview. I've interviewed. It's your decision now. I don't know if that's a British thing. I don't
True.
know if that's a British thing because
Yeah,
um, my cousin's in North Carolina and he's interviewed for med schools, and he was along the same
yeah.
level of like, oh, thank you for this opportunity and extra all this
Yeah.
and that, and like, well, no, they need students. They need students.
Yeah,
That's my thing. It's
true,
like, if none of us turn
true.
up,
They need
then what?
to. Yeah, yeah. I think I don't know, maybe I'm old school in thinking that because I did a majority of my research, like, as far as getting into dental
Yeah,
school, like, back in 2011, so I think it was a thing where you had to write a thank you note or a thank you email. I don't know if it's still a modern thing, if people still do that
I
or
would be really surprised if anyone in the UK is doing that. I would be very
not.
surprised if anyone in the UK is doing that. Maybe there's some guys and girls out there who are doing that, but I would just be like, why am I begging so hard? Like, in a way, I don't know.
That makes sense. I
Um,
mean, yeah, I get that for sure.
but it's just not in my character. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it works with other people's character. Um, I'll try and be authentic.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, what do you think you like about dentistry? Because you went on your trip to Honduras. What is
Mhm.
it that kind of just like hooked you about the whole thing?
Um, so so the one incident that really, like, strikes
Yeah.
me from Honduras that I've carried over into dentistry, like, altogether, um, it was just, like, this one little girl came in. She had been playing out on the streets with, a couple of her kids, or a couple of her, like, kid friends, and she came in crying. She was holding, like, her 2 front teeth in her hand, that she had, like, broken, and it was just, like, so incredibly sad. And being an 18-year-old and thinking, if I lost my 2 front teeth, like, what in the world is happening?
Mm,
that kinda deal. So, the doctor and I was the dental assistant working with the doctor at the time, and the doctor and I worked through, like, a 3-hour procedure. I can't even remember what we did and how we did it and, what we went about doing that, but we helped her, at the time. She came in the next day with, like, a big old smile on her face, like, jumping around, and she like, nothing had happened, and she was so resilient. The teeth were
Yeah.
fine, everything was, like, going back to normal, and so, that to me was, like, the breaking moment, the moment where I was like, "Oh my god, this is exactly what I wanna do." I want to bring that smile on someone's face, like, I wanna be the reason why, someone is happy, and, I think that was a trigger for me. It always has
Mm.
been. It's been in the back of my mind ever since. Um, how can I help this patient smile? So, like, a now example would be like, in radiology, we have radiology block right now. So, I had this patient that came in, to get a full mouth series done, and I kind of saw her out in the hall, and she was like she was up at the window, she was a little
Yeah.
frustrated and so on and so forth, and I kind of like if for us, the system was taking too long, the computer software's been glitchy lately, so it was just taking too long. She came in, she was already really frustrated, she was annoyed, um, and I kind of like every X-ray, I'm like, "You're doing a great job. You're doing excellent. You're doing wonderful." You're, trying to motivate her to like keep going to take more X-rays, more and more X-rays. Um, and at the end of the appointment, she just gave me like a big hug, and she was happy, she was smiling, and that to me was just like
Great moment. Yeah.
amazing. I mean, yeah, like I didn't even do treatment on her, and I helped her make her day, and so I know she had been going through a lot, but it was just great to tell her that she finished this one part of her appointment. She's going to move on to the next, but she's doing a great job, and so on and so forth. But I think that was a defining moment. That those moments for me are what gets me going more in
Yeah,
dentistry.
I mean that's fair enough, isn't it? I think that you're able to make kind of almost an instant improvement in some people's lives, just like that. So it's really great, isn't it? Um, yeah, I think for me, I like the technical. I suppose you're a bit early to get into all that, like endo and stuff like that.
No, 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 I've been there, I've been there. When I was working as an
Yeah,
assistant, I actually worked for a doctor that had, like, a CBCT, she had the full, like, 9 the whole thing, the whole setup, implants, she was doing it all, and I was right there with her as an assistant. I was a lab tech at the time too, so, like, it was really great, like, I could make surgical stents. I knew which I knew the aspects that she was
yeah,
working towards, all of that, and then when I got into ClearCorrect, it was more digital because it was like 3D printing. I was learning how to, I love digital dentistry. I'm so excited for it. I'm all for it. I'm there for it. I get
yeah.
it.
Digital is something that's really interesting to me because, first of all, I hate taking impressions because patients hate it and they hate you for taking impressions. So if you can just scan something and then just hit
Yeah,
send, and you see in the next room you can hear the Serec or whatever starting to process your crown, and another
yeah,
hour and a half later or whatever it's done, and you can fit that thing. Then I mean, how cool is that, for example? And there's no rescans needed, because if you see something that's a bit wrong, either, oh, your prep's not quite right, you can re-prep right there and then and scan it up, just erase that bit and scan again. Like,
yeah.
I mean,
So easy, so
try
instantaneous.
try doing that with a old school, two-stage putty and wash or whatever you're using.
Yeah,
Like I remember I used to heat
yeah.
wax,
That
the little red carding wax. You could heat it up and I'd push it into the prep, into the impression, and then bring it out
uh-huh,
and try and see whether the actual prep was looking okay on it. And
that was right.
it wasn't very accurate, but it was the closest way you could see to actually like assessing whether your impression was a good one or not. Um,
For
if it's on the
sure.
screen, then you should go for it. Quick little comment.
Yeah.
Hassan says intraoral scanners are really cool and easy to use. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly it.
So Loma Linda is actually taking it more digital now, especially with COVID. It's kind of accelerating the process
Oh yeah,
of taking it
cross-contamination if
digital.
you're sending things to different labs
Yeah,
and all sorts.
sure. And like pouring up and all of that, and it's just I think that's like a hot mess. Right? Why not just do it digitally? Why can't you just look at a model digitally? So when I worked for that private practice doctor, I actually did CEREC crowns, zirconia crowns, all of those things.
Mm,
I was a ceramic lab tech for her. It was really fun. And then when I got into Clear Correct, we got nothing but digital impressions.
yeah,
We would get some PVS impressions that we would have to pour up and scan and all of that, which was extra work for us. But it was a lot easier when a doctor would just send in an iTero scan or
whatever it is.
whatever scan that they did.
Mm.
Yeah, and it was like we could immediately take it to the next step rather than having to go through all those processing things beforehand. But yeah, so Loma Linda's getting into that. We're doing more digital scans. We're learning digital scans rather than just learning how to pour up and wax up and
Mm.
all of that. We're learning how to do it all digitally so that we don't have to. I mean, that's the future, right? So might as well learn
I
it
spoke
in
to,
school.
do you know, I think she's in Texas, Queen of Invisalign, Christina Blatcher. I think she's in Texas,
No, I'm not
Austin
sure.
or somewhere.
I think I've heard of her
Yeah,
name though.
I spoke to her and she was like, yeah, so you can assess where like the points of hard occlusion are or high occlusion, and you can then go, actually, well, maybe we should move your teeth a little bit so we can get a more neutral, a neutral like whatever. So you can, there's so much stuff that you can do with
Yeah,
digital workflows and all sorts of stuff. Did the doctor
sure.
you worked with, did she ever tell you about the costs benefit of using all this stuff?
Uh, kind of. So I know what each machinery costs. She didn't really break it down for me, like as far as like how it cost, like each thing, how much it costs. But I did a lot of
Yeah,
orders
yeah,
myself, so I know like a block. If I were to go and get a block for a CEREC was going to cost me like anywhere to $50 to $100. Like if I were to do like an Emax or
yeah.
something, right? Uh, Prices have probably gone up by now. That was years ago, so,
Prices might have gone down though.
yeah, so
Do
it
you not
was
think?
oh, you think
I
so?
think I'm
I'm
sure
not sure.
the stuff in digital dentistry surely is getting cheaper as time goes on.
Oh, okay,
I might be
okay.
wrong. I'm just thinking, well, if there's more people on the scene, different companies,
Yeah.
usually the price will come down unless they're doing
True,
some
true.
backhand
Yeah.
deals where they're all saying, yeah, we'll make everything really expensive.
True. I'm not sure. I never really thought of that, but I'm sure it would have gone
If
down.
that's the
You're
case,
right,
I
like,
may be
in
wrong, and maybe I wouldn't put
yeah.
it past these guys to be, like making little
Yeah.
sly deals.
They would all increase it all together,
Yeah.
you never know. I I'm not sure, but that's how much it costs, like, as far as, like, 1 block
Mm,
goes. So then you would add in several blocks. I wanna say and then, like a zirconia block would obviously cost more. Like, I wanna say the actual CBCT machine was probably I know this is gonna
hundred
be a lot,
probably.
but it was like
Yeah.
$154,000. That's a lot of money. Yeah. Just for the CBCT and then the scanners cost a lot more, the CEREC milling machine costs more, the zirconia curing furnace costs a lot. Like there's different components that go to it. So it just depends on what you want to invest
Yeah.
in. Obviously having a CBCT is really beneficial, especially if you're doing both or
Yeah,
implants. But
implants, endos, you need
yeah,
CBCT
I
for
know.
it. Um, I was just wondering whether, for crowns and stuff like that, whether there is a huge difference, whether, per crown, is it cheaper to do one? And you might not know the answer because, it's been a long time. It's cheaper to do one via a traditional
Yeah.
lab or via a digital lab. I'm assuming it must be cheaper.
Okay, so yeah, if you have a great operator that's trained in the
Mm,
process, you're only paying for their payroll, and then once your machinery is paid off, you're just paying for the
yeah.
materials themselves. So I mean, yeah, I would think it's beneficial because a crown, if you were to outsource to a lab, a crown would be like anywhere from $200 to $250,
Mm,
depending on the lab. So like you're probably saving $100, but that 100 ish, probably a little less depending on how much the operator costs,
Yeah.
but then you're probably putting all of that stuff into, like, getting the machine and stuff like that. It all depends on, like,
Yeah,
your
if you're doing
practice, I
loads,
think.
then it makes sense. If you're doing like not very many, then it makes
Yeah.
doesn't make much sense. Yeah, digital's just
Yeah.
really cool. I mean, you can
Yeah.
scan with. Have you seen Dr. Schiffenhaus? I think that's how you say his name. Steve Schiffenhaus.
I believe so. Yes, yes, I
He
believe
scans his
so.
preps under
Um
dam. How cool is that?
Oh, what?
No tissue retraction
Yeah!
needed because it's just rubber dam. You could see all of the thing,
Yeah!
and these preps under dam, and then it's perfect because everything else is out the way. So the only thing you're scanning is the prep. And obviously, he's done a full arch scan
Yeah.
beforehand on the opposing and stuff. So it just makes so much sense. It's so cool. It is so cool.
That's super awesome. I would've so then how does he get, like, the, opposing and contact and all of that? Does he do
I
that
think they
separately?
probably do the scan on the opposing before they even start. So he probably,
Uh-huh. Oh, I see, I
and then
see.
I mean, a lot of these guys who have Ceric and Itro and stuff, an assistant will do the scan anyway, like
Yeah,
on
yeah,
the
yeah,
start of the
yeah.
appointment, and then if we're doing something, then you already have that scan ready. You can just sling the dam on, do prep quickly, IDS, finish it off, and then scan it, and
Yeah.
then some guy, it's cool. There's so many like opportunities there, isn't there?
Yeah, yeah. I know from being an assistant back in the day, scanning was not
No.
easy. So it was much easier to get the impression and then pour it up as many times as you wanted and then scan like on their machine or
Mm,
whatever. But now scanning is so much easier. It fills in a lot of the gaps for
yeah.
you, there's just it's so much like it what used to take like 30 minutes to 45 minutes to get like a really great scan takes like 20 seconds now,
Yeah.
which is
And
great.
they're only going to get faster
I love it.
as the
It's
equipment
amazing.
gets better.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean it's going to be
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Amazing.
yeah, I really want to learn how to do all that stuff. I've not had the chance to actually use one, but I'm just like I've seen people doing it and seen how their workflow is. I'm just like yeah, this is the way forward. Why are we doing anything else?
Amazing. Yeah. Why are we doing anything else?
What is the point in all this other stuff?
Yeah.
Alginate all down my arm.
All the Exactly, and, like, we have and so much material waste, so many I think, like, also going green, it's so much more like, so much less material waste, like PVS impressions, impression trays, and so on and
Mm,
so forth, and stone, and everything is just so much less, and you could just do it all on a computer. It's
yeah.
amazing, and then have a finished product in your
Yeah,
hand.
it's more time away from the patient's mouth. It's just perfect. Because
Yeah.
the scanning
Yeah.
arm's pretty long. You can do it from a bit of a distance.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go.
Le-
You can for sure
Less chance of getting bitten.
have the patient just scan themselves, it's okay.
Well, that's what Smile Direct Club is.
Yeah, true.
Uh,
That's it. I find, Smile Direct Club to be very interesting in what they do. We had a brief opportunity to work with them in at ClearCorrect. So it's kind of like I won't go into detail because I don't know, like,
what
legally
you're
what
allowed to
I'm
say.
allowed to say and not. Yeah. But I just, like, I just know it's a very interesting process that the theory behind the owner and what he envisioned is really like a business minded, a really great
Mm.
ideology, although it's not something that is deliverable in real life, and I think we've seen that in a lot of cases.
I
We've
think if
seen
anything, yeah,
that
if
it's just
anything's
not.
not patient centered in healthcare, you're gonna come up against corners cut, things missed, because
Yeah.
we spot things when we look in a mouth that even an
Yeah.
experienced clinician sometimes can miss things. So if you've got your McDonald's worker doing scans,
Yeah.
I'm
Exactly.
not sure they know which the white bits and the red bits are called. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's what worries me around all
Okay.
this. So
Yeah,
we'll have to see how things go with that. But I'm very skeptical, to say the least.
for sure,
Um,
for sure.
yeah, digital's awesome.
Has it come into the UK? Has Smile Direct Club come into the
I
UK? Okay.
seen one patient who came back, and you could
Ooh.
still fit your fist through the anterior open bite. So
Oh my goodness.
Maybe not your fist, but
Oh,
you get
yeah, but still, it's a significant
a
answer,
baby's
you'll
fist would
say.
fit through for sure. Yeah,
Oh, no. Well, I mean, extrusion is the hardest, to do with a clear aligner in
yeah,
general, so I wouldn't there's a lot of patients I think I can say this, a lot of patients that came through the door that I wish had seen, I think a lot of these patients came out of embarrassment, let me start with that, came out of
yeah,
embarrassment of, like, I'm scared to go to the dentist, or I'm scared look at my teeth, or I'm worried that, like, I'll get judged for it, and so on and so forth, whereas they're the ones that really needed to go see the
mm,
dentist. They really needed that one-on-one, let's work through a treatment together, whereas the people that needed that finer, aesthetic touch actually do go see the dentist
yeah.
and do get
It's
clear aligners.
it's weird, isn't it? It's really
So
weird because yeah, maybe some of it you're right is like embarrassment, but I mean, our job is literally to fix these things. It's like, oh yeah, you crashed your car.
right.
Um, I'm just gonna park it around the corner from the garage and then hope someone fixes it.
Right, and that's not something that
Does
you
that make
can it's
sense?
like your car's not like no. Yeah.
That's
Still
exactly what
not
it is
gonna
actually. You know, you've gone and you've crashed your car, unfortunately. You're a bit embarrassed about it, so you park around the corner, you knock on the flower shop door, leave the keys there, and then run away. And then
yeah.
9 months later, you come back and see if
And
something's
that's
happened.
that. Yeah. And they probably sold it for chump change.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's the
And that's not what, that's not what dentistry is. I think, I watch a lot of Grey's Anatomy. I Here's a Grey's Anatomy reference. A lot of a lot of, patients come in because there's an episode where, like, the lady had, like, a big old giant tumor, and she was just afraid to come in to the doctor to get it
yeah,
seen because she was just embarrassed about it. Um, I don't think because we're around dentistry 24/7, I don't think we see it that way, that it could be embarrassing for a patient to come in and be vulnerable about talking about their
yeah.
teeth or the amount of neglect that they've put towards their teeth, and sometimes dentists can be
Those are
judgy,
the
like,
fun cases,
"You've
though.
waited this long to come
Like
in?"
if they listen, like
Yeah, yeah. It's true, it's very true, but, like, but that's not our job to be judgmental, our job is to help you
yeah, yeah,
heal, right, at the end of the day. It's our j it that's what we get trained for is to help you heal. We're there to help you find the right way to fix your teeth,
yeah.
essentially.
Exactly. I mean, I don't know about you, but I would prefer having that kind of a case come in as opposed. I hate cosmetics, by the way, so this is why I'm going to say it. It's just not for me. Like I'll do whitening, I'll do at home whitening trays, cool, and then maybe a little bit edge or
Yeah.
something. But I much rather do a big old case that's like loads of calculus to fly off and some OHI and then some fillings here and there. Then someone who's like, oh, so my teeth aren't quite straight enough here, and is this one a little bit rounder? And like, can you bring it up a shade and a half so then it's whiter than my eyes, and then like all of that, trying to match it to
Did people actually say
AirPods.
that? Oh,
You reckon?
yeah. I wonder if people actually say that. I've never I mean, that's so interesting. Yeah, I wonder if people actually say that.
I
That's really
I wouldn't be
funny.
surprised if
But
people are going
yeah.
with a shade tab, going AirPod AirPod color, please, because it would match, and then
Yeah. And then you're
yeah,
good.
I mean you've got yours, and you're not far off. What do you reckon, guys who are watching? I
I
think Jix
actually
pretty
don't.
close with her AirPods, and
Let me see. Hold on, hold on, hold on. I have my AirPods right here. Let me see if I can get my AirPod. Can I Are they the same
I
color?
can't tell where your teeth end and the AirPods begin.
Maybe it's just a poor quality camera.
Maybe so.
Rather than
Hassan's got a couple of comments. I'm not sure which. That's so true. Love the way you worded it. Well, was that me or Jix? I don't know. Let me know what the comment was. But yeah, I would rather have like I'd rather have an endo case, a bit of a swelling. I can drain that thing, do some nice access and extirpation.
Restorative.
I only learned there was an R in
Yeah.
that word like a weeks ago. That's pretty sad.
So I'm not very versed with Indo quite
Right.
yet because we haven't taken Indo yet. But yeah, I think that's the one that I found to be very like as an assistant, I'm talking, not as a dentist or a dental student. That's one profession that I found to be like a very like gray area because you're working with a part of the tooth that you can't even see for me
Yeah.
visibly as an assistant. I'm sure there are ways, and I'll figure it out later on down the line as a student, and become better at Indo. But I definitely like would love to dive in and understand that a lot more. I think it's so interesting of like working in the dark, basically, kind
No,
of.
so you're not working in the dark. This is the thing. So um you need good illumination, and you've got
Okay.
some loops. I'm pretty sure I've seen a picture with you with some loops, so that's going to
Yeah.
help you out no end. I work with a scope with a camera, so
Okay.
my assistant can see on
Okay.
my iPad what's going on. So that takes
Oh,
the
okay.
what the heck's going on out of it.
Right.
And
Right.
then that means that she can see what's going on, all that sort of thing, or he if you've got a male
Right.
assistant, and then from there you can learn a bit more. That would have been good for you guys. But there's guys like Brett Gilbert. He's got a YouTube channel as well, and
Okay.
he does live, not live demos, but he did like demos the whole way through, and he talks the whole way through it. It's super cool.
Oh,
You could probably learn a lot from
I'll have
that,
to check
and
that
he does
out.
it the whole way through, so you see everything that happens to the tooth in real time.
Oh,
uh, don't think you're going
nice.
to be as fast as him, but he's the one.
Of course. It was really weird, like, I watched these YouTube videos of, like, composite fillings or, like, like, on Instagram or on YouTube of, like, dentists doing things, crown preps and so on, and we're just getting into crown
Yeah.
preps, so I did my first couple of crown preps recently. I I I would watch these YouTube videos and I'd walk in with the expectation of, "I'm gonna do such a great job. I'm gonna be
Yeah.
wonderful at this," and my preps were so crappy. Like, I would never wish that on a patient ever in their life. Obviously, it's a learning curve, and I'm gonna get better and better, hopefully, and just
Are
keep
you guys still
improving.
on plastic
But
teeth?
I
Yeah.
yeah, so we're on typodonts as of right
Because
now,
we
yeah.
we did that,
I
the typodonts, but we also had extracted
Uh-huh,
teeth, which we would set in an arch and then do it that
uh-huh.
way. They cut
Oh.
completely different. Plastic is
Oh,
horrible.
do they?
Plastic is juddery. Plastic is it burns and it makes that smell.
Yeah,
Natural
yeah.
tooth, you can cut much smoother on a natural tooth than you can on a plastic one. Um,
Plastic
so I
tooth.
think it's actually easier in the mouth. I don't know if anyone else has found that. I'm sure we'll get some comments about that. But yeah, I think it'll be fine. But yeah, I mean, learn to use the right equipment and all that stuff. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
so yeah,
for sure.
that's for sure. We've got a comment here. Can you do a podcast with Faris Dent on his? Yeah, message me back on Instagram, and I'll have a look at what's going on there. Yeah. Um, what we were talking about, I just read that comment and lost my train of thought.
I think I was just talking about how like YouTube videos have set the
That's it.
expectation really
Yeah.
high, and you're like, I'm over here as a student, like I don't know what I'm
Even
doing.
after uni, for 2 years,
Uh-huh,
um,
uh-huh.
I didn't go to a single course or anything. I
Mhm.
YouTubed and Instagrammed my way through it, as in like watching other
Oh yeah.
people's. Um,
Okay.
yeah, so that's kind of how I learn as well. Because what's the point in going to a course for something really really special and crazy when you can watch the exact same thing on YouTube, and then you haven't
Yeah,
spent a
yeah.
thousand pounds, for example, on the course. And what if that case never comes in the
Gotcha.
door? Like then
Yeah,
you've wasted that, and you've never
agreed.
practiced it, so you can never like put it into practice when it's fresh.
I, yeah,
So
yeah. And it ends up being a waste.
yeah, so I'm a full fan of like just YouTubing your way through life.
Yeah. I agree.
That's that's the best way to put it. Um, yeah, yeah.
Definitely
I learned how to
agree.
do
I
fillings,
think
everything.
yeah, I think So I learned this was towards the end of our, like, composite fillings, course or whatever. Um, I like, I had learned this while I was an assistant, obviously never done it or
Mm,
practiced it, but you could use a little bit of adhesive, and I'm sure I probably don't know all about it yet. I'll learn more later on down the line, but you could use a little bit of adhesive to smooth out the composite and make it nice and flush with the tooth so you don't have any open margins or anything like that. Actually saw a YouTube video on it, right before I went into, like, a practical, and then, I actually used that same technique and ended up with the perfect margins. Maybe it was just luck,
mm,
maybe it was entirely luck, but it ended up being super beautiful. I don't know how long it'll last as far as wear goes, but it worked out for the
yeah.
practical, and I was really
I can't
happy.
remember if there was an issue with doing that. Or was that no, you shouldn't put adhesive on your brushes when you're trying to like finish off your composite.
Smooth it out.
Yeah, I think
Uh-huh,
I can't remember
okay,
why, but I think it's
okay.
something like it separates. I can't remember, but I may be wrong. I
Oh,
may be
okay,
thinking of something slightly different
okay,
because it's a long time
okay,
ago since I read that particular thing, and it may have been just someone's opinion as
okay.
well. So I don't know.
Okay. I'll have to do more research on it later on,
Mm,
like, when I actually put it into practice, if I do decide to put that into practice, but it did work out as a
it
practical,
looked good.
it was just a test. Yeah, it looked good. That's all that mattered.
But yeah, there's loads of stuff to learn.
But
Loads of
yeah,
stuff to learn on there.
yeah, sure. I think, like, it for some of the dentists that I've seen that, like, layer composite with the staining and all of
Yeah,
that, I find that to be, like, beautiful, like, beautiful work. I'm just like, I wanna get to that level one day. I really do. I think that's just it's admirable for
that's not
sure.
even difficult. I just watched the YouTube video about 100 times, literally,
Yeah.
and then when you're putting the composite in, if you have the right instruments, you want like. Unfortunately, I never had the actual kit. I the LM Art Fisher kit. I bought this one actually. Um, these blue instruments for my practice. Um, and they're really good because they've got a really thin end. So you want the thinnest end that you can get, and you can then kind of almost draw in your Fisher patterns and stuff like that, and then use a little brush to smooth it
Oh,
out. But you do it cusp by
okay.
cusp. But you do like biggest cusp first, then the opposite one. So like if there's four cusps, you do the opposite one, then you fill in the
Yeah.
gap, and then you fill in the other gap.
Oh,
It's
okay,
it's pretty
okay.
crazy.
That yeah, I mean, it doesn't sound too complex, but once
Yeah,
I get in
you just need
into it,
four
I'm sure.
blobs, four blobs of composite.
Okay. Got
Yeah.
it. Um, so when you use a brush during composite, let me ask you this. When you use a brush during composite, do you use anything with it, like on it, or is it just a dry brush?
Um, No, so if you get these really soft brushes, you don't want a hard brush because a
Mhm.
hard brush will push it too far. What you want to do is you
Gotcha.
get these Teflon coated instruments, which the composite doesn't stick to. Oh yeah, that's what it is.
Okay.
Don't put your bond on your instruments because yes, it doesn't it stops it sticking, but it affects the composite
Uh-huh.
in some way that's not great. Um,
Oh,
some people do it,
okay.
but I was advised not to do it in uni, so there was some reason.
Okay. Okay.
That's what I was thinking of. Um, and then what you do is you get your composite in like 95% of where you want it, and then you slowly just
Uh-huh.
brush the composite up into the area that you're trying to get it into
Okay.
to like smooth it out.
Okay.
Some composites are
Okay.
terrible, like they're really hard and stiff, so it's difficult to
Yeah.
do with it. So heating composite is really good. You heat it in a warmer,
Okay.
and that softens it up and makes it
Mm.
flow. There's loads of
Does
trips.
that not make it set
No, so you if
the heating? Okay.
it comes in like the long things. Do you know what they call the
Uh-huh.
tubes?
Uh-huh.
And you twist it, and then you chop a bit
Yep.
off.
Right.
So they have like,
Right. Right.
have you seen coffee warmers? You know where you put the coffee on a stand,
Yeah.
and it's the mug like a
Yeah.
USB
Yeah.
warmer. You put it in one of those, or a
Uh-huh.
dental one of those. You know, there's actual things for it, and it just warms the whole
Okay.
composite up, and then you squeeze out the bit you want, chop it off, and put it in. And then because it's warmed up,
Nice.
it's softer.
It flows a
Yeah.
lot better. Awesome. I never thought of that. I will have to try to get that worked in somehow.
That's a big thing, and then I'm sure you've seen the guys doing onlays and curing it with or like instead of using bond or whatever, they use or a cement like a Reliax or whatever you guys use, Panavia. They use cured composite,
Mhm, mhm,
heated cured composite.
mhm,
That's the reason
mhm.
it's stronger and stuff like that. And if you heat it, it flows into all the little gaps much better.
I see, I see. So, you know, we prevent voids
Yeah.
and
Again,
all of
I'm not
that
the
stuff
expert,
too.
but
Oh,
this is what these guys are doing.
okay, cool. Super cool. I look forward to researching that a little bit more so I could make that work somehow.
George the dentist, I'm sure most like dental students are following him. The guy from London, he's
Yeah.
right up there with all this stuff.
Uh-huh.
Like, if you want to learn what you actually
Okay.
should do, don't listen to me. Go follow him. I just talk
Okay.
rubbish.
I'll definitely do that.
I run my mouth. Don't listen to me. Um,
You pretend like you know what you're
I just
doing.
read a lot of stuff and then I like, oh, I read something about that and then paraphrase very badly what I read. That's once you understand that about me, then you get where I'm at. Um, yeah.
For
So
sure.
there's loads of cool stuff you can learn on YouTube. Um,
Yeah, I'm excited to explore more.
yeah, or you can be entertained by me and Jixa. So subscribe if you're new.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Have you had someone who's been really important in your life, like a mentor or someone that's kind of changed the way you've gone about things? It sounds like the lady you worked for was someone in that mold.
I think it's just, like, different components of my life. I've
Mm,
had a mentor. It just depends, like, where I was at in my life.
yeah.
I wanna say, like, you know, like, in high school, even through undergrad, my, mentor would be, like, the dentist that I worked for in high school as a dental assistant. You know, I he asked me if I would go on a mission trip with him, you know, again and over again. It was just really hard while I was in school to make a whole week because he was gone we would be gone for a whole week to make a
Yeah.
whole week work where I wouldn't be in school. So that was difficult. Now or you know going onwards like to work and career like it was just like every I wouldn't say like boss but every boss that I had would kind of take me under their wing, which was really nice, and teach me along the ways of being an employee. They would also teach me, so it was really I was really grateful for those opportunities of learning from them. I definitely learned from the doctor that I worked a lot. I saw almost every, or I wouldn't say almost every, but I've seen a lot of cases under the sun working for her because you know, she had a wide variety of cases. She never turned down a case. She was always open and willing to take on multiple and several
Yeah.
cases. So that was always really great. You know, I learned a lot from her as far as like what I needed to do as an assistant, what a doctor thinks about how they treatment plan for a particular crown or for a particular filling or whatever that might be. And then later on down the line, you know, working at ClearCorrect, my boss was a really great mentor. I mean, I have nothing but great things to say about him because he took my hand and walked me through the entire process. He was the owner of
Yeah.
the company and he took my hand and walked me through the entire process. He was like, "This is why we do this. This is why we do that." And any question I had, he would be open and willing to listen. Um, Now at Loma Linda, I think it's just a matter of time that I find someone.
Mm,
I think the doctor that I did, you know, relate to or connected with, he actually retired, so I can't really say much as far as that goes. But it was, you know, I think later on down the line, like when I get up on clinic, I think I will have. They're really great people here at Loma Linda. They're super nice, super willing to teach you, never really like standoffish or anything like that, and I have a really great bunch of doctors that kind of take our hand and walk us through the process
that's
again.
cool. Yeah.
um, yeah, yeah. So it's really great. You know, we're doing like partners. So like we pair up with another dental student and we do a full exam and the doctor basically walks us through like this is what you should have caught or this is what you might have looked at differently and stuff like that. So it's really great like having that mentorship and an instructor to like work through because I definitely would not be able to like learn if it was just here's the lecture, here's how you figure it out and you're on your own. Definitely love that they guide us and walk us through it for
Yeah, I
sure.
can imagine that. I think it's probably the same within all dental schools. It's quite difficult to have that one person because they've got like hundreds of guys to deal with, and
Yeah,
if you're in second year, they're worried about the guys who are finishing off in their final year dentistry and stuff. So it's more like you take the nuggets that you can, and I think you probably find somebody afterwards, whether it's
yeah,
from like Instagram, and then you just like connect and learn from them or something. You'll get someone from some avenue, I'm sure. Um, some of the bosses seem to be really good.
absolutely.
Like we spoke to George yesterday, from Emerson, and he's in Boston, and he said, look, they're just amazing for like learning and all sorts of things. So yeah,
Nice. Awesome. Yeah. I look forward to that next chapter of like mentorship from a dentist or a well aid or like a well versed dentist. I know that like working back in way back in high school, I know working for a dentist that was think he was like I think he was 60 at the
right,
time, if I'm not mistaken. And so that's he's been around and he had been in dentistry in the small town that I lived in for a while. His patients knew him by, face, knew him by name, even outside. I would actually see some of these patients outside in the grocery
yeah,
store, stuff like that. So it was really, I know that he was really good at what he did because he had done it for so long, and I found his guidance to be like so beneficial. And so I hope to find someone like that in the future where I know that they do good work and I can do good work under their mentorship.
yeah. It's funny actually you say that. These guys that work in the same place for a long time, some of them are incredible. Do you have the same thing that we have in some areas in the UK where there's a guy who's just really personable, all the patients love him, and as a result, he
Yes.
can slack off like the actual treatment. Like he's a lovely
Yeah.
guy, but he used to be a great dentist, but he's just slacked right off now. But the patients haven't got a clue because that's the guy they go to and they don't go anywhere else.
They don't know. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
happens everywhere though,
I hate to say that, but yes, I think every city or location might have a guy like
or
that
a girl.
for
Let's not be
sure.
sexist.
Yeah, yeah, let's not.
No, you guys are better than us. I think you probably got more like integrity than the boys.
I don't know about that.
All right. Oh,
I've seen some pretty shady stuff from women dentists, so I wouldn't I wouldn't put it past any
yeah.
gender.
Okay. Well, yeah. It's just interesting that you guys have the same kind of weird little thing that we seem to have as well. Um, I think let's shelve dentistry for a bit. What is it that you do outside of the dental office or well dental school right now that kind of balances your
Yeah,
life? Obviously, it's difficult in dentistry when
uh,
you're in dental school because everything gets a bit like one track minded.
for sure. So I do a lot of crafts. This right here behind me is created by me.
Nice.
I do that on my free time. I love spending time doing that. It like helps me relieve. Now that Christmas is around the corner, I'm going all crafty, all out. So I think that's one of the things I like to do. I think it also helps me. Like earlier on, I didn't realize this, but I realize it now. It helps me with my hand skills, like coordinating, like having that vision of where I'm going to put certain things, and mapping it out in my head and then actually going about and doing it. And like the hand skills come in when I'm doing like tedious things, more than like the large scale things like this is more of a large scale, but like when I do a smaller project. But yeah, I think I do that. I like to go out on hikes with my husband every now and again. We like to cook, or I like to cook. He just joins
He
along for
likes
the
to eat.
process. So, um, yeah, he likes to eat. So yeah, we enjoy doing that. My Instagram is actually like, if you catch me in the evenings, it's usually like what we have for dinner. We'll do date nights every now and again where he and I decide to cook something together, and stuff like that. Think that's about it. Like, that's all that I have time for. I would love to have time for
Yeah.
more, but I don't
No,
have time
dental school's
essentially.
just it takes up your life, doesn't it, for a while? I mean, especially if you're
Yeah.
actually working, which some of us maybe didn't
Yeah.
maybe didn't work so hard.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't think I work as hard either. I hate to admit that, but I definitely don't think I work as hard
Yeah. As long as you pass your exams though,
should. Yeah,
that's the main thing. Yeah.
agreed.
Again.
Agreed. I do, and I tell my classmates this, like, my academics might not be like 100%. I don't have all A's in everything, but I do realize that like I need to focus my time and my attention on my clinical skills. That's what's going to carry like,
The
that's
weight
going to be
long term.
beneficial for a patient later on down the line. Yeah. And so like right now I'm struggling with crown preps. I do like to devote a little bit more time or attention into working on a prep or like figuring out what my weak points are
Mm,
as far as preps go and asking for an instructor to help me out or whatever it might be. Because I don't want to slack on that. I'd rather slack on academics and take that as a backseat and actually focus my attention on like my hand skills, I guess I would say.
yeah, yeah, it kind of makes sense.
Mm.
I think you need like that balance. Obviously, to understand
Yeah.
how you're doing things and why you're doing things, but like the technical aspect. If you can't cut a crown, what's the point in knowing how to do all these other things and
Right.
the bonding processes of whatever.
Yeah. Like, what chemical bonds with what part
Yeah.
and all of that stuff. Yeah.
There's yeah, if
Yeah,
you
for sure.
can't cut a crown, what's the point?
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely, like, what I try to emphasize. We don't have open lab times right now, so, because of
Mm,
COVID, so it's really difficult, so I try to stay ahead of my projects so that I can, like, have a little bit of, give time to practice if I can. If I can't, then I'll have to quote unquote wing it. But it's not always easy right now. I think I really, as far as COVID goes, I really hope that it disappears by the time like I'm a third and a half, fourth year, so that I can get a lot more clinical hands-on experience. Obviously, I would hope that it would disappear tomorrow,
oh
but
yeah.
I definitely but I definitely want more hands-on experience. I don't want to miss out on that opportunity, and I don't necessarily want to rely on a residency to provide that for me when I should have had that during my education.
Yeah. What's it like being in LA and obviously being in uni in LA? Is there a lot to distract you, do you think? Or are you managing?
Uh, I'm on the outskirts of LA, thankfully.
Yeah.
So I don't have as much, distractions. I would have to drive quite a bit. And then like on top of that, my husband works on Saturdays, and so it's kind of like out on Saturday. So I actually devote my Saturdays to studying, and then like on Sundays we'll decide to go out. So like we have a very structured schedule as far as that goes. And that really helps not getting distracted. But obviously, like I could get distracted by a leaf blowing over my desk or something like that. Because as
Oh
a
dear.
dental student, you're looking for a distraction always.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm. It's interesting because I mean, there's actually is it three or four dental schools in LA? You've got Western, you've got
Yeah, there
UCLA,
are.
you've got LLU. Is that it?
Yeah. And then you've got USC.
US. I knew there's one more. Yeah. So do you guys like? Is there like an LA dental society sort of thing, or are you guys like firmly against each other?
No, I don't think we're against each other for sure. Um, I think I think Loma Linda's a little less involved, I
Right.
would say, just because like Loma Linda also believes. I'm not sure if you're aware of what that is, but Sabbath is like on Saturdays after or Fridays after sundown, and on Saturdays we don't like participate in like group activities that are associated to work. And so we kind of like so we don't a lot of things happen over the weekends. It happens like Friday to Sunday, and so it's really hard for us to participate because of Sabbath.
Is that like a
Um,
school-wide thing, or is it just like a personal?
it's a school wide thing,
Right.
but it's also like a lot of the students are participate in Sabbath.
Right. Okay.
I would say. So it's really like you don't want to schedule. I don't think the school decides to schedule things unless they are like that they are outside the Sabbath window.
Right. Okay. Because
If that
yeah,
makes
it's
sense.
interesting because like our school or dental school had no involvement
Mhm.
in any of the social activities or anything of the dental school.
Oh, what?
It was all student run. So whatever the students wanted to do, the
Yeah.
students did. Um, and there were
Oh.
certain things that there was like a bit of involvement. So we had like a common room and bar inside the dental school, um,
Oh.
which was open on Fridays and stuff like that. But yeah, so like a lot of the stuff we would do, like faculty, as you would call it, might turn up, but they were not
Mhm.
involved. It was all like dental student, like student council, or student society run,
Oh.
as opposed to that. So yeah,
Okay.
um,
I actually had a one of my cousins actually went to dental school, or she's in the UK, so she went to dental school in the UK, and she said that like there's correct me if I'm wrong, but there's like 4 schools and then like all 4 schools meet for like a ball at the end
is that
of
in
the year
London?
or something like that. Is that right? Or is that yeah, maybe in
Yeah, that might
London,
just be a
yeah.
London thing.
She's in London, so yeah. Okay, okay.
We're
I thought
we're
that was
way
super
north.
cool. I thought okay. I don't know. But yeah, she told me that, and I found that to be super cool. I wish, like, California would do that. That'd be really
That's what I was
great.
thinking. Is there some
When
sort
I
of
was
like
in touch
collaboration because you're in the same city?
I think so as far as that goes, like, it's so as far as being in the same city, we're, like,
It's a big city.
we're
Yeah, yeah.
we're kind of far. Yeah, yeah, it's a really big city. And then, like, like, we have it's called District 11, ASDA, Student
Mm,
Association. And but that also includes, like, Northern California too. So we've got, Pacific and there's one more school I can't remember at the
yeah.
time. But those are all involved in that District 11 like union. So I'm not sure if we participate in like the just here Southern California thing, but I know that we do have like the District
Mm.
11 meetings
It
for
always amuses me when you guys say Asda because I'll send you a picture of what Asda is in the UK. Is what you guys might call Walmart. And every time you American dental students like, yeah, we were at the Asda event. I was like, wait, what? What? You went shopping?
Got some
Yeah.
groceries.
And it took me even now every time like when you brought it up then I was in my head I was just laughing. I was like, lol.
It's funny.
Yeah. But yeah, so that kind of makes sense. But used to have something called Sports Day, where all the universities or people that could be bothered would go to one particular location, and there was like um team sports, athletics, all this sort of stuff, and then there was like nights out and whatever else people wanted to do in that stuff as well. And they also had like I think it was a conference in the morning, so it was like a whole weekend sort of thing. I never actually went because it just seemed like effort, and I would
Yeah.
rather lie in. But there was stuff like that.
And relax.
Um, but yeah, so
Okay.
yeah, I just wondered whether it was similar, which I guess Asda is kind of that, but it's more like
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, a California-wide thing more than just a
yeah,
Southern
yeah.
California thing.
Um, what's something that you think of or you like bring up and no one agrees with you on it? And this could be anything.
That no one agrees
Like,
with me. Should I ask my husband? I don't really know that I like that no one agrees
yeah,
with.
either you like or you bring up, or like, oh, we're gonna have an argument about that because everyone's just like, what's Jixa on about? He's flat earther that believes in chemtrails.
I don't even know. I I try so for me personally, I try to understand other people's perspective, as far as, like, if there's a disagreement or
Hmm.
something, but, mm, I'm not really sure. I can't even think of anything at this moment.
Uh,
Like, what do I disagree on?
yeah,
I try to be agreeable. I try to be an agreeable person, especially in dentistry because 'cause I'm still
yeah,
learning. I try to be an agreeable person
fair enough.
and not have, like, a clear cut yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, it's more stuff like I was thinking, oh yeah, I don't know, you really like McDonald's, and everyone's just like, oh no, what are you on about? And
Oh.
like petty, it can be the pettiest thing in the
Uh.
world. It's like,
It's kind of like when people say that they don't like bacon, it's like one of those things. Like, I don't really I don't eat meat.
Right.
That's probably something that's disagreeable, I guess. Like, I find, and I'm probably gonna offend a bunch of people by saying this, that but, like, I listened to a podcast a couple of, years ago. Yeah, a couple of years ago. And ever since I was just like, "Oh my god." I've always been a vegetarian since, day
Right.
1, been a vegetarian. But once I listened to that podcast, it made me realize, like, why eating meat was so much more efficient as far as, like, greenhouse waste and all of that stuff goes, so
Maybe
maybe
that's
that's
your thing.
something that I like. Yeah, that maybe that's my thing. I think everyone should be vegetarian, but that's just
Catch me later
me.
on Instagram stories with my steak.
For sure.
There it is.
I also live in Loma Linda, that's like a blue zone vegetarian thing, so, like, it's kind of, like, really great that I will go to Loma Linda, which is a completely vegetarian school. I love it.
That's the
I
entire
absolutely love
school's
it.
vegetarian.
Yeah,
What?
yeah. So, no, like, not the students aren't, like, restricted to being a
Okay, right, okay,
vegetarian,
okay.
no, but they only serve, like, vegetarian food and, like, healthy products within their vending machines and stuff like that. It's kinda cool.
But just
I obviously think it's cool.
there it is. That's
Here's
our argument. There
fair.
we found it. Like, yeah, I didn't mean something with dentistry. I just meant just like, yeah,
In
in
general.
general. Um, yeah, I couldn't give up meat. I do agree on one thing. People who wouldn't have the balls or the stones or whatever to kill the animal themselves, but will happily just go about eating loads and loads. I think there is something there. That would be my
Yeah,
like line. If you haven't got the guts to do it, then maybe that's stick to the
think
rabbit
about it
food, mate.
a bit more. Yeah.
Um,
Agree.
yeah, yeah, that's it. I think that's what we're looking for. Is there anything people misunderstand about you apart from why you're vegan?
Uh, I misunderstand. I think, because I've seen a lot of walks of dentistry, I think people automatically think that, like, I might be an expert at something, but as far as dental
Mm,
school goes, um, but I'm definitely not. I don't ever claim to be an expert. I don't ever claim to be, like, the best at anything. I'm definitely not. Dentistry is a humbling process for me, 100%. I need to learn. I'm here to learn. I'm on the same page, same level, same playing field as any other student. I need to learn also. So it's not that I'm above anything. I don't know more than anybody else. I am at the same level as every other dental student, I feel.
yeah,
I might have a couple of nuances that I know from private practice, but that doesn't make me an expert by
yeah.
any
I mean, but
means.
other people will have shadowed loads, and they will have taken something that you didn't take in. But I mean, that's just like
Yeah,
fair enough. Whatever, that's just
that's
life.
yeah, yeah, and I don't have, like, a persona where I try to be like, "Oh my god, I'm better than everybody else because I have all this experience." No, by no means am I better than the next student that's over sitting next to
Mm,
me, like, we're all in the playing field, and I think that's definitely really important as a student because you're all learning. It's 100% a learning
yeah,
process.
I think that's fair. I
My
think that's
AirPods
fair.
out.
What's that?
My AirPods are about to
Oh,
give
oh,
out.
yeah. I was just going through the last couple of fun little questions anyway, so
Okay,
we'll
okay.
we'll wrap
Okay.
up before they completely die. What is this something that I should have asked you, but I didn't know enough to ask?
Huh. I feel like we covered a lot, in this podcast. I don't believe so. I think there's
We'll do part two.
if we forgot something, but I don't think
Yeah.
we did. I think we got most of it. It's like, scrolling through those TikTok videos where it's like part 2 for more. I don't but I
Oh,
think
have
we
you, have
covered
you seen the end part two movement?
No, I haven't.
There's an
Is
end
it
of
on
part.
TikTok?
Yeah, there's an end part two movement, which is great.
Oh my god. I need to join that
Yeah.
movement.
Um,
I hate having a part 2.
yeah, because then you got to click onto the profile, and you're like, it's usually like
Yeah.
a funny video, like a Jerry Springer thing or something, and then you're like, where's the one I just watched? And you just like
Yeah.
can't find it. Go back.
Yeah.
No.
And and obviously the algorithms all kinds of different on TikTok, so you're, like, having to go through, like, 5 different scrolls of where
Mm,
that recently watched video was and all of that. Yeah, I'm not a fan. If they're asking me to look at a part 2, I'm definitely just scrolling up, not
yeah.
really caring
Unless it's really funny, in that case, I will look. But
Yeah.
yeah. I don't
Other
get
than that,
TikTok. I did one the other day, and then I posted it on
yeah.
Instagram right after, and I got like 300 likes or something, or loads of views, and it's got 22 views on TikTok. I'm just like, no, come on. I spent ages on that.
Yeah. I feel like it takes so much time. So, like, I've kind of dove into the TikTok world. I'm not
I'm
really, like
trying. Just yeah, I get 20 views.
yeah. It's not really. I'm not sure how the algorithm works
No.
either. Maybe it's like if you use like a famous music uh stream 30-second clip, whatever you use for TikTok. If you use that, then maybe it like boosts your ratings. I heard that somewhere. I can't remember, but if there's like a whole algorithm for TikTok that has it's different from Instagram that like it works on. But yeah, I'd like to get into TikToks, but I'm not really.
Yeah.
I'm not that versatile, especially as a dental student. I'm not that versatile
I'm
yet.
just reacting to things. Like that's
Yeah,
it.
same.
And I'm like,
That's the extent of my
yeah,
TikTok.
I'm just like, I thought I was funny there, like, and then clearly the guys on Instagram, but you're following me anyway, so you're gonna like it. Otherwise, why are you following me if you don't like me? But it's like,
I
you get that as well. You have like
have
haters who
0
follow you.
followers.
Why are you
Yeah,
following me
I
if you
have
hate
0
me? Come
followers.
on,
Yeah.
go.
Get out of
Yeah,
here.
I just went really high there.
Agreed,
Wow.
agreed, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I should ask you. How's your Instagram journey been? Obviously, you're posting semi regularly on Instagram, social media sort of life.
Yeah.
How's that affected you?
I so I started the Instagram journey. I kind of didn't know what I was doing. I think that's
Yeah,
everyone. Um, I I didn't know whether or not I wanted to like post about my journey in dentistry or like if I wanted to post about
yeah,
dentistry in general. So I started off as posting about my journey in dentistry. I've kind of taken on the route like of or taken the route of um doing, like, more of a preventative care dentistry because of hygiene school and, like, what I learned in hygiene school, and now that I'm in dental school, I'm like, "Hey, this could have been preventable had you just flossed your teeth," or whatever that might be. Um, obviously, going back to, like, the whole, passion about, the needy and so on and so
mm,
forth, I would like that message to, like, go forward to, people, that are in need. They all have social media. Everyone has social media. So I'd much rather have an outlet that's accessible for them rather than making a pamphlet or something like that. So I've turned it into kind of that kind of aspect um of
posting.
Instagram.
Yeah,
I do occasionally, yeah. So I try to post like a dental tip or with my research that I've done as far as like brushing, flossing, preventative care. I do one of those, and then if I have time, then I'll do like a personal. This week was really difficult in dental school because, or whatever it might be. As far as Instagram goes, because I know there's other dental students that follow me that might be like first years. I know my littles in dental school that are first years enjoy some of the things that I like, some of the points and tips and things that I
yeah,
post or talk to them about. So I think others would benefit from it, but who knows?
yeah. I think
um,
it's interesting how everyone's using it because I use mine very differently. Mine is just like at the moment, I've got lots of photos that I want to post, and the excuse for posting them is I have a podcast with so and so, and that's it.
yeah.
I'm just like, I like this photo. I need an excuse to post it. There's my excuse ready made.
Yeah.
There we go. Um,
For sure.
and then there's guys like you who are like going deep into like preventative care. I'm just like, yeah, someone else can do that, you know. This is the fun zone.
Someone else can take
This
care
is
of
the
that
fun
aspect,
zone.
yeah.
This is the
Yeah.
how
How did how did, Dentist of Insta come about?
yeah.
Or, like, in your mind, I guess I should say.
I failed finals, which is why, you know, you should work hard, guys. I in fact no no. In fact, I failed finals and it was almost a fluke. Previously, I had failed exams that I should have worked for, but finals I did work for, and it just had a bad day on an oral one. Um, and
Mhm.
then in the UK, we have to do a training year, and it starts every
Mhm.
September. So if you finish in June and you've passed, then you can start in September. But if you failed, your resit is in November, so you miss the boat for the next year.
Oh,
So I
yeah. Wow.
very calm, you know, I wasn't worried about passing, you know, I felt like I knew enough. I just had a very bad day on one particular part of the exam. So I passed
Mhm.
12 out of 13 sections, and there was one section on a kid's unseen case. I lost my mind and said the complete craziness. So
Oh, no.
I got fixated on I remember I got fixated on the tooth gem of an 8, and it was overlapping the 7, and I was like, I don't know if
Oh,
I've seen this before. Is this wrong? Is this right? Is this wrong? It's like, do I need an oral surgery opinion here? I was like, and I went down this whole rabbit hole because I
right.
was like trying to find where they're going to trip me up, and then I tripped myself up. So
Right,
it
right.
was actually MIH, and I completely missed it. I noticed it and I mentioned it, but then I went on a rabbit hole with this thing. So obviously, like I didn't do so well in
Right,
that.
right.
But then yeah, I passed fine, you know, in November. But you have 10 months
Mhm.
to do nothing. And I was really into the gym, you know, go
Oh,
to the gym a lot. And there's all these gym feature
right.
pages on Instagram. And at that time, there
Uh-huh,
was like ones for doctors,
uh-huh.
nothing for like dentists. I think like um there was one page dental student thread, but they were very
Mhm.
irregular in their posting, and they were only posting like the absolutely most insanely attractive people only, and that was it. And
That
that
was
and yeah,
it.
and yeah, that's fine. You know, that's their method, and that's cool. But then I
Yeah.
started. I was like, well, I've got nothing else to do for 9 months apart from, you know, whatever side projects and other things that I was doing, and you know, going home and whatever. So I started that in like the
Mhm,
December. And then my friend gave me a ring at some point. He goes, look, I'm going on holiday. He works in Dubai as a teacher. He
mhm.
goes, I'm going on holiday to Sri Lanka. Do you want to come? I was like, yeah, cool. Um, so I went there. On the way back, I went to visit family in the Middle East in Kuwait. And
Mhm.
there's actually a dentist, Dr. Lidawi Raja. He's a really cool guy. I went to visit him because I'd like met up with him, and this is like 3 months in. So I'd like connected with him already, and we'd like had calls on the phone to, you know, giving me advice on things, and we just had like a 3 hour chat in his surgery, and we went for coffee and stuff, and I was like, oh, this is cool. And while I was there, I
Yeah,
was like, well, should I do a podcast? And me and him were like, yeah, let's do a podcast. But obviously he's in Dubai,
nice.
he's in like Kuwait, and I'm in the UK, so it didn't really materialize.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, I just went on from that, and I was like, well, let's just take this another step further.
nice.
I booked a ticket to Australia because I knew people there. Like what? While I was in Kuwait, I was like, okay, I'm going to Australia now. And then it just went around, you know, just
Nice.
like meeting people and stuff, and having fun my year off or waiting for the job.
That's super cool.
And then it got bigger
Yeah,
and bigger, and then lockdown hit. No, last in fact last year I started the podcast, didn't I? Last September I started the podcast, did 2 or 3
yeah,
episodes, and then I started a
mhm,
new job and just things got really busy. Then lockdown hit.
right,
I was like, okay, full
yeah.
steam ahead. Um, so we did like 60 Instagram lives through lockdown, 60 or 70. Um,
Nice.
and then doing proper podcast now, which you are on.
Yeah.
We're doing real podcast now, yeah.
That I'm participating
So
in.
that's been the journey so far. Um, where it
Super cool.
goes, we'll have to see. I'm hoping I can become part of the YouTube partnership program, which is why everyone's got to subscribe, like, comment, all that nonsense. And
Yeah,
then yeah,
yeah.
we'll see what happens. Did that answer
For
the question?
sure.
I don't know.
Yeah, 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 that answers the question, that's super cool. Like, it's been a journey, as far as, like and also, like, you trying to figure out whether or not it was gonna be, like, an Instagram Live thing or a YouTube
Well,
thing, but
yeah,
that's super
Instagram
cool
Live was
that
really obvious. Everyone sat on their phones, and we had a bit of an audience already,
yeah,
so like it made sense to
yeah,
take
yeah.
advantage of it. And then if you watch the Instagram lives back, the quality's. Oh, we lost the. You back?
Yeah,
I can still
sorry.
hear you.
I my AirPods died on me officially.
Right, I think the audio's still okay. We'll start wrapping up there then. Um, but yeah, so then obviously we were going to see what happens, and then it was a perfect time to just go crazy and have lots of people on lives and chat to everyone. No one had ever seen my face before then, actually.
Oh, what?
Yeah, very irregularly. I think I did like 2 or 3 posts.
Instagram, like the page, right? Like that.
Like my
I
own page, yeah.
right, yeah.
But like most of the people on Dents of Insta didn't know that I was it, even though I'm linked in the thing, because they just see the post and they go like it and then move on. So yeah,
I see.
my face came more in it then. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Any so guys, make sure you to like, comment, subscribe. Jixa is on Instagram. Are you anywhere else?
TikTok.
TikTok. I'm also on
Just
TikTok with 22 views.
yeah. No, I have like an unofficially launched website that like I get on every now and again, but all of my Instagram stuff is more in depth on my website. If
Yeah,
like I post something, I have a little bit more in depth information on my website, and you can find that on my Instagram bio.
on the bio. Yeah, there's a link tree there, isn't there?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. It's been a pleasure speaking to you. I'm sure we'll catch up with you again at some point because I think you've got lots to talk about, and we definitely can dive into digital dentistry for sure again
Yeah.
and again.
So excited
Guys,
about it.
I think I haven't linked your Instagram in the caption yet of the video, but I will be doing that straight after. So make sure to go follow Jixa. You can see her handle on the screen now, so go and follow her there, and check out the website as well. It's been a pleasure. Hopefully everyone's enjoyed this. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell because we're doing this pretty much every day during lockdown 2.0. So yeah, as much support and shares as you can. If you're watching right now, take a photo with your phone, tag us on Instagram. I will definitely share it. Have I plugged everything I'm supposed to plug? Oh yeah, Patreon, guys. If you want to join the Patreon, that's where you can support the channel. You get a nice little community of dentists. You get discounts from companies such as ProDent USA. There's also a dental photography checklist, including the equipment and stuff that you need. And I can also do Instagram growth training for some guys as well who want that. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and thank you to Jixa.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Awesome, guys. See you later.